Amelia Earhart was a trailblazer who shattered expectations for women in the early 20th century. She grew up in Kansas, more interested in adventure than tradition, and her first flight in 1920 sparked a lifelong passion. Working odd jobs, she saved for flying lessons and quickly became a skilled pilot. In 1932, she became the first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic, braving storms and mechanical failures alone. Her daring flights made her an international celebrity and a role model for women everywhere. Earhart set records, wrote books, and inspired countless people with her courage and humility. She wasn't just a pilot, she was a symbol of independence and possibility. Beyond her solo Atlantic flight, she became the first person to fly solo from Hawaii to the US mainland. Each achievement pushed the boundaries for women and for aviation. She used her fame to champion equal rights and encourage others to dream big. Her legacy as a fearless pioneer endures to this day. Amelia Earhart's story is one of relentless ambition and hope. She remains an icon whose light still inspires generations. In 1937, Amelia Earhart set out to become the first woman to fly around the world, a 29,000-mile journey with navigator Fred Noonan. Their Lockheed Electra carried them across continents, with the world following every update. After crossing South America, Africa, and Asia, they faced their most dangerous leg, the vast Pacific. On July 2nd, they departed Lae, New Guinea, aiming for tiny Howland Island, a pinpoint in endless ocean. The U.S. Coast Guard ship Itasca waited to guide them, but weather was poor, and navigation was critical. As they neared Howland, Earhart's radio messages grew desperate, low on fuel, unable to see the island. "We are on the line, Wonder 57, 337. We are running north and south," she reported. The Itasca tried to respond, but communication failed. After one final broken transmission, silence. Earhart, Noonan, and their plane vanished without a trace. The world was stunned. A hero lost in the very skies she had conquered. The disappearance sparked a global search and endless speculation. What happened in those final moments remains one of history's greatest mysteries. The legend of Amelia Earhart only grew after she was gone. Her final flight became the ultimate unsolved story. The world would never be the same. The U.S. launched its largest search ever, scouring 250,000 square miles of Pacific, finding nothing. The official story: Earhart ran out of fuel and crashed into the ocean. But the lack of evidence fueled decades of theories. The crash and sink theory remains the most accepted. Lost, out of fuel, the Electra disappeared beneath the waves. Another theory points to Nikumaroro, Gardner Island, where some believe Earhart and Noonan landed and perished as castaways. Artifacts and skeletal remains found there keep this idea alive. The most sensational theory: Earhart was captured by the Japanese, suspected of spying, and died in captivity. No solid evidence ever proved this, but it captured imaginations worldwide. For over 80 years, the world debated her fate: crash, castaway, or captive. The mystery endured, becoming legend. Each theory reflected the hopes and fears of a world searching for answers, but the truth remained hidden, until now. In October 2025, the U.S. government declassified secret Navy files from the 1930s, files that changed everything. Discovered by chance during a digitization project, these documents were labeled Project M19, Earhart Incident. Inside were transcripts, coded messages, and internal reports never before seen by the public. The files revealed the U.S. government knew far more about Earhart's fate than it ever admitted. Leaders feared the truth could spark international conflict, so they kept it secret for nearly a century. The documents showed the search for Earhart was also a cover for intelligence gathering in the Pacific. Her disappearance near Japanese-controlled territory was a political crisis, not just a tragedy. The files detail tense decisions made at the highest levels. The government chose secrecy over transparency, creating a mystery that would last generations. These revelations recast Earhart's story as one of political intrigue. The files were a window into a hidden history. The world was about to learn the truth. The declassified files confirm a chilling truth. Earhart and Noonan were captured by the Japanese near the Marshall Islands. Intercepted Japanese communications described the seizure of an American plane matching Earhart's Electra. U.S. intelligence knew almost immediately they hadn't crashed at sea. Low on fuel, Earhart landed on Mili Atoll, unknowingly entering a secret Japanese military zone. Both aviators were taken into custody, suspected of espionage. The files include a Japanese report. The male pilot and female pilot were interrogated on Saipan. Their situation was dire from the start. A 1939 U.S. intelligence source reported the two were executed, accused of knowing too much about Japanese defenses. The U.S. government, fearing war, buried the truth, admitting the loss of a national hero to enemy hands would have forced a confrontation America wasn't ready for. The real story was hidden for decades, until now. The mystery was never about the ocean but about secrets and fear. The mystery of Amelia Earhart is finally solved, but the answer is heartbreaking. She and Noonan survived their flight, only to become victims of suspicion and international tension. Their deaths were not an accident, but a consequence of political fear on the eve of World War II. The U.S. government's decision to hide the truth was strategic, but it left families and the world in the dark for generations. This revelation forces us to confront the reality of government secrecy, even when it involves national icons. Earhart's fate is now a story of cover-up and loss, not just adventure and courage. For her family, the truth is a heavy burden, closure, but at a terrible cost. The legend of her disappearance is replaced by a sobering reality. Her story is now about the price paid for secrets and the human cost of global conflict. We must remember her not just as a lost pilot, but as a casualty of history's darker currents. The truth changes everything about her final chapter. Amelia Earhart's legacy is more complex and more poignant than ever. The world finally knows what happened, but the answer is not the one we hoped for. Knowing the truth, Amelia Earhart's legacy as a courageous pioneer remains undiminished. She broke barriers, inspired millions, and proved women could soar as high as any man. Her achievements still shine, but her story now carries a tragic weight. No longer just a victim of the sea, she is a casualty of human conflict and secrecy. Her fate is a lesson about the costs of suspicion and the complexity of history. Earhart's journey ended in darkness, but her spirit endures. She remains a symbol of daring, hope, and the pursuit of dreams. The truth adds depth to her legend, making her story even more powerful. We honor her not only for her flights, but for her courage in the face of the unknown. Amelia Earhart's light continues to inspire, reminding us that even in tragedy, heroes never truly disappear. Her legacy is forever redefined, but never diminished.